Todd.
Well, this is a great honor to be here. So, a couple of days ago, I was just clicking on Facebook, and somehow I'm standing here. So, yeah, but there's been many times where I asked the Lord, how in the world did I get here? And it just happens. So, anyway, Roy wanted me to share this for 5 to 10 minutes, so I'm watching that clock here. And anyway, I gave my life to Jesus in 1978. There was a man sent from God. His name was Laird, and I worked with him. And we shoveled dirt for 12 hours a day, every day, 7 in the morning to 7 at night. And there was something different about this guy. He was happy all the time, and he didn't complain. He didn't tell bad jokes. And he was, I thought he was from outer space, you know. I'd never seen anybody, you know, shovel dirt in the sun 12 hours a day and not complain. And so then I found out that he knew how to play Stairway to Heaven, which was my favorite song at the time. And he said, I'll come down and give you a live version, and I recorded it. Well, that was just an open door for him, the Lord, to come down and say a few words to me. And all he said was, Todd, you know, you're going away to college this year. And I found out college was the hardest time of my life. He said, but there was one thing that never changed. That was Jesus Christ. He was always there. He was always my best friend. And that shot through me like a knife through my heart. And I got so scared, all I could think about is he's going to put his guitar away and go out that door, and I don't know what's going to happen to me. You know, it was just like, it was like an emergency. And I said to him, I said, Laird, how can I know that I'm saved? He said, that's what I've been waiting for you to ask me all night. And so there, you know, I gave my life to Jesus. Previously, I kind of pretty much been out of control and kind of come to the end of myself, you know. And anyway, so then I went and read, found a book, or a Bible, Dusty Bible, and I didn't know where to start, so I started in the book of Revelations. It didn't make any sense, so I came and said, I can't understand this. And he said, you better start in the book of John. So I started there. And well, then I got hungry for more, and I started looking on TV, and I found this guy, Demas Shakarian. And something about this guy, I mean, it was drawing me in like a magnet. And I just felt waves of liquid love coming out of the TV, you know. I was going right through me, and I was like, wow, I've never felt nothing like this before, you know. He was just, his soft voice and stuff, and just a smile, I could hear it like it was yesterday. And so that got me searching for, I said, okay, I'm going to start looking at things about the Holy Spirit. So I went to a library in college, and I was trying to figure out who the Holy Spirit was. And I remember going to the last page, and the last chapter, it says, you know, this is how you can learn how to speak in tongues. And I got so scared that I closed the book. You know, I thought I was going to be like a fire-breathing dragon. Something was going to jump on me and take over me, you know. So something supernatural. Anyway, I was just, it was, you know, just trying to figure all this stuff out. And then I walked into a seminar on baptism of the Holy Spirit, and there was a guy named Ken Ellingson. He was up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and he said he had read a book called The Greatest Thing in the World by Henry Drummond. And right after he read that book, he said he started operating in the gift of healing. And so anyway, I lifted my hand. I said, okay, Lord, you know, I want everything you got, you know. Yes, I've always been an all or nothing guy. And so I walked out the door. I got about 50 feet out the door, and all of a sudden I hear this voice telling me, turn around, go back, and have them pray that you can find some Christian friends. So I just did a 180. I didn't know, you know, I didn't even think about, it's not me telling myself to turn around, you know. So I went back, and he prayed for me. And about 5 hours later, when I got back to college up in northern Minnesota, I walked in and I saw this note on my desk. It said, call Glenn Severson. He wants to be your roommate next year. I said, who in the world is this guy? You know, I never heard of him, and he wants to be my roommate. And come to find out, he had just gotten filled with the Holy Spirit. And I prayed for a friend. I ended up with a clone, okay? This guy was, we had exactly the same interest. We dressed the same. We had the same haircut. And, I mean, it was just bizarre. I could tell you crazy stories. And we laughed our head off because what the Lord has done is almost as a joke putting us together. And I mean, you know, I'll just give you one example. You know, one time I broke my glasses, I put a common pin in the corner. I go over to his house, he's got a common pin in his glasses, you know. And it just got to be, you know, I could go on and tell you, it was just, we laughed our head off. Anyway, so then I lost track of the Full Gospel Business Band. You know, I thought they disbanded, and I never heard anything more about them. And I ended up working for the airlines for 35 years as a mechanic. And just a few years ago, the Lord said, retire. You know, he told me to quit. And I did. And I said, now what, Lord? Okay, I'm looking at a wall. And I said, I'll go anywhere you want me to go. I said, you want me to go overseas? You want me to go wherever? You know, I'm all yours. And anyway, so I was pressing in. We came down to Texas to visit our daughter. And our grandson, daughter, son-in-law, and brother-in-law were all standing there, and all of a sudden, in unison, they all said, you know, our greatest gift to us in our life was if you guys could move down here from Minnesota. I mean, it was like, that was it. I mean, you could have written it on the wall. You know, my faith meter pegged all the way over. That's it, that's it, that's it. That was the answer to the prayer. And so we moved down here. And so we've been down here about a year and a half ago. And now, just the other day, I was, yeah, this is how I got here. So I was on Facebook and tried to register, and something happened. I remember my phone locked up and I couldn't register. And then I tried again the next day, tried to register. I couldn't get registered. Then I go to register the day of the meeting, and it says registration is closed. Okay. And I thought, you know, I'm going to get there somehow, some way. If I got to dress up as a cook, you know, and get in there, climb in the window, I'm getting there somehow, you know. And so I got the elevator. I go up the elevator, and all of a sudden I see 3 smiling faces. I saw Roy, Rhonda, and Greg standing there looking at me. And on the way, when I came here, I had been praying, Lord, I want you to introduce me to some interesting people, you know. And there they were, you know, just looking at me, smiling, hi, how you doing? I said, I'm trying to find out, you know, where this conference is. He's registering. He said, well, you found the absolute perfect people, the registry people here. And so, anyway, but my main point was that, you know, it all started with demons, like we were watching on the screen there. It was that spirit that he had that actually came through the TV and got me, grabbed me. And, you know, like a big hand came through the TV and just sucked me in. And so that's what started the wild, you know, just a wild life. I can tell you story after story, you know. Just real quick, I got a minute here. Okay. My wife is from Iran, and she'd been through pure hell. She'd been in prison. Her sister had been executed. She was climbing over all the dead bodies in the streets there. You know, the Iraqis surrounded her town and shelled it night and day for 3 months. And they were digging holes in the ground to find water, eat pigs off the trees. And they got airlifted out by a Chinook helicopter and had a rendezvous, and the Iraqis started shooting missiles at them from the ground. And she said those 20 minutes were worse than the 3 months, you know, they were getting shot at. And she went through pure hell. I mean, she was a basket case in her mid-20s. And one night she fell asleep. And all of a sudden she sees this man walks up to her in a white dress, and he's smiling. He's got sandals on, the whole thing. And he said, I'm God. And she said, you can't see God. You know, she has no Christian training at all. Didn't know about Jesus, Bible, nothing, zero zip. You know, walks up, says, I'm God. She argued with him 3 times. You know, nobody can see God. I don't know who in the world you think you are, you know. You're a nutcase, you know. And he said, okay, well, he sent me to you. And she said, okay, I can accept that. I don't know who you are. And he said, I'm going to show you something. He said, and from now on, he said, you're going to follow me for the rest of your life. He said, and from now on, he says, you ask me whatever you want, and I'll give it to you. All you have to do is ask. He said, and he took her by the hand, and he went down this long hallway, and he opened up the door and said, look at this man in the bed, you know. And he told my wife, he says, this man does not have any legs. He said, when you wake up from this dream, tell your friend you want to see your father. He says, I'm telling you, he doesn't have any legs. The next thing she knows, she says she's waking up and she starts smelling flowers. And she's looking around, and all of a sudden, there he is. The man in the dream is standing in her bedroom with a crown of flowers on, daffodils. And what is significant, and she says, I'm not dreaming anymore. I saw the texture on his skin. He was a real man standing there looking at me, smiling. And so what's significant, the daffodils, they go closer and around. They believe if you smell daffodils, that it heals leprosy. Okay? Now she's got all she knows is what the daffodils mean, but they don't have a clue who this guy is. And she starts screaming. Her friends wake up. And, what's going on? What's going on? She says, I got to see your father right now. What do you got to see my father for? And she wouldn't tell her. And so she got up and went down. There was the man in the bed, you know. Says, does your friend have your father have any legs? And the girl started fainting, screaming. You know, he had his legs cut off 5 years ago in a car accident. How'd you know that? Now this is where it gets funny. Okay, now, I don't know. I think this is the Lord's humor here. Well, at least I think it's funny. So they're both standing there, two Shiite Muslims talking to each other, trying to figure out who this man in a white dress is. And her friend says, I think it must be that guy Jesus in the Quran. And my wife says, well, whoever this man is, I guess I got to follow him. And so that started, I'm not going to tell you a whole bunch more, but anyway. But then a week later, she got out. She went to Austria. She landed in the baggage area. Am I going on too long?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Went to the baggage claim, and then she's got 2 big suitcases. She looks up. Now what? Here I am. I have no money. I don't know anything. I don't know anybody. And she overhears a lady speaking her language, which is Farsi. She goes over there, and the lady happens to be an immigration lawyer. Just happens to be there, you know.
Wow, man.
And she said, I'm trying to get to the United States, you know. And he says, okay, you come to my office in 2 weeks. I'll get a visa to the United States. She didn't think nothing about it. And she says, where are you staying? I don't have a clue, you know. She was like Mr. Magoo, you know. And but she went to stay at the Pantheon. There's all these other Iranians staying there. And they all laughed at her. They said, yeah, right, look at all of us. That's what they tell all of us for the last year. We're almost there. We need a little bit more money. And so that's the only hope she had, you know. And anyway, she went back to the visa office. Sure enough, they got her a visa, United States. Next thing she knows, she's flying first class at American Airlines to the United States with her brother. Okay? And she got there, somebody asked her, Pauline, have you ever been to church? She said, no. And she said, you want to go to church? She said, yeah. And her only reason to coming to church was she figured that must be where God lives, and she's coming to give him a piece of her mind. And get a piece of her mind, because why is her life a complete zero? And she's trying to do everything right. And she said, I had $5 to my name. That's all I had. I threw it in a little basket. No, okay, now you got my $5. Now you have $1, you know. And 5 minutes later, she met me. So, anyway.
Stop.